A hanna you Tim, a trigger the V in Cornwall. I'm the first person in my family to ever pick up a rod. No one in my family before me has ever fished. I got really into rock pooling when I was going on holiday as a child, and I got very good at rock pooling. I started learning where to find all the fish and, you know, lifting up the rocks, and you find different species of fish under different rocks, and found that very exciting. And then I needed something to do when the tide was up because there aren't any rock pools exposed. And I remember my family got me a crab line, and the crab line had a little hook on the end. And I used to bait that with limpets. And one day I was fishing with the crab line and I caught a ballon wrasse, decent sized wrasse, about this sort of size. And it was just like a firework going off in my head. At that point, I knew that all I was a fisherman, and everything else in my life would be built around it. Oh. Go. Oh, he's a little one, this one. Skating him in on the top. It's Rat City down there. I mean, one of the things I like about fishing the open coast is that in amongst the bass you get the other fish, and they, as well as being kind of a fun distraction, they also keep your motivation up. I'd rather have a stream of bycatch and so on. Tide sort of swinging around this way, and I'm just trying to work a little back through it quite gently. There's still not much water here, so I've got to be a bit careful because I'm on a metal, and the treble can hang in the kelp if you let it go too low. But on the other hand, the fish are often sitting low, so you don't necessarily want it to ride along the top either. And the trick is to let it fall on a kind of tight line, and that's when most of the takes happen because the lure is fluttering down through the water, and then just rip it up with a little quick spin and then let it fall again. It's literally hopping this, and I'm very happy for it to come to rest. Oh, there we go. There's a lot of fish out there today. Yeah, growing up in Wiltshire, which is a landlocked county, there was very limited opportunities to fish the sea, and honestly the fishing opportunities in Wiltshire were not quite what I was after. And then my career took over as I became a teenager and young adult. I went to London to study neuroscience, and yeah, as a sort of young scientist, my work days were long, and there was not really any opportunities in London to fish. Yeah, it is a fish, I think. I don't think it's a wrasse because it was up top. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Right, Now the sun's come out, which is lovely. It reduces the chances of us catching a bass here, unfortunately. Generally speaking, bass will feed in bright sunshine, but you need that combination of bait and a strong running tide. Tide is a little bit weaker, but there's a spot round the corner we can try that where you've got a big run of tide over an anvil of rock, and that often the fish will be hanging behind that and feeding. So we'll try that for a bass in a bit. So what I ended up doing was I went abroad quite a bit to fish. I went to the tropics and did a lot of GT fishing, got into my lure fishing through that. And then my first postdoc was in Bristol, and that's got me into UK lure fishing for perch and bass and things like that. What I'm doing is I'm just letting the lure absolutely hit the deck. I'm trying to get it down in every little gully. And it's an open hook lure, it's not weedless, but if you keep in touch with it, you can actually bounce it through every little gap. And a lot of people are worried about letting their lures stop moving because they think the fish won't take it, but they do take it. I actually have caught fish just dead sticking a lure on the bottom. Doesn't matter at all. There we go. Yeah, I was quite satisfied with the fishing in Bristol up to a point. I wasn't very near any of my local marks, so it was very hard to learn them in any great detail, although I did get quite good at fishing the docks there. But then 2020 happened and the pandemic hit, and that made a big change to my life because I got made into a remote worker, whereas previously I had to go into the lab every day. And I realised that this was a real opportunity because I could then work from anywhere. And so I decided to move down here to Cornwall, which is where I've always wanted to live, really. And it's really quite a special place. So the main type of fishing I do in Cornwall is for bass on the lure, and there are lots of different places you can catch bass in Cornwall. You can catch them on sandy bays and estuaries and here on rock marks. And what I love about the rock fishing in particular is that while you're fishing for the bass, you can catch all sorts of other species as well. You've got pollock, you've got ballan wrasse, you've got mackerel, garfish, and you've got all the wildlife around you as well. You see pods of dolphins, porpoises and seals, and yeah, it's really fantastic, and you often feel like you're going somewhere into real wilderness, like something that you don't really have in a lot of the UK. You feel like you're alone in the place, and it's absolutely fantastic. Oh, hit. So I'm just like hopping this back over some boulders, the tide's taking it to my right, and then I'm just trying to keep it leaping over the worst of the rough stuff. Oh, fish on.
been living in Cornwall for about 3 years now, and it was an absolutely amazing decision. The fishing's fantastic, people are great, and yeah, all turned out pretty well.